What is something that you have never told your parents? When I was 13 I told my parents I was sleeping over at a friend's house. I actually took a 4-hour bus ride to Los Angeles and went to a Marilyn Manson concert. Of all the things I did as a kid, this is the only major one they never seemed to find out about. Wow, that's impressive. Especially at 13. That my mother threatening to abandon me multiple times as a child caused me to have abandonment issues. You would think this would be obvious to a parent. They can be so thoughtless. That when I was in kindergarten me and another kid touched each other's privates. Edit great. Now my top comment is about being a slut as a kindergartner. Actually, sex play is very common in children. It is a problem if they are caught and persistent sexual behavior, or if the sexual behavior is with someone not of the same age, like an adult. Children are just naturally curious. Just to add, the sex play should be pretty clueless about how the deed is actually done. If kids have advanced knowledge, that's a red flag for abuse and risk factor for child-on-child assault. I used to call out sick for school with friends, and we all pretended to be each other's dads. Hung out at the mall, and if anyone asked, we were online class students. That my mother is a horrible excuse for a human being. She tormented me as a child and still sees nothing wrong with her wonderful parenting. She was horrible mother. She deserved everything she got in life, and she deserves to die alone. These are the things I want to say. I would absolutely say them if given the chance, but I have cut off all contact, changed my number, and moved. I would not know how to contact her, even if I wanted to. I hope you redoing better now. It's always good to cut out the toxic things in life. I am doing much better now. Thank you. It took 36 years, but it was the best decision I ever made. My boyfriend in high school stayed the night once. He hid in my closet and we communicated on Nintendo DS chat. Once my parents went to bed we played video games until like 2 in the morning. Then he snuck out my window after my mom and dad left for work the next morning. The DS chat room. Legendary. How I feel, or if I'm okay mentally, they just care about grades. I am so sorry. I hope you have good friends you can talk to. If you don't, seek out some good people and mentors. You deserve happiness. That I was a homeless prostitute. I refused to ask dad for money because we had been so distant for so long. I sometimes regret that, have a lot of bad memories from that time. Still, you should be proud that you took care of yourself and stood on your own 2 feet. You have pride. Thanks. I made it to the top of a climbing wall in college. A whole bunch of guys were cheering me on. I know I never should have done it due to my disabilities, but the experience was something I will cherish for years to come. Yeah, I have a disability with physical activity. Mostly the fact that I have no athletic ability or measurable upper body strength. But good job man, you probably did better than I ever will. The love of my life had an abortion because she didn't know she was pregnant. Took a full course of antibiotics and had multiple x-rays. It devastated her and she broke up with me a few months after. We still talk to each other to this day, but destined to never be together. I know that pain all too well. That I was the one that ran the car off the pier. Laughing. Okay, I have to know this story. When I was a teenager we got in an argument. I stormed off and punched a hole in my bedroom door and promptly put up a new poster. Over a decade later I'm dreading when that poster comes down. Edit, dreading is definitely an exaggeration. The hard part is going to be finding a door that matches the rest of the doors in the house. Please just buy a door and give it to them without context. Yes. Nice try, mom. I would give some type of award here if I could. 1. I took an 8-hour bus ride down to LA for a pop concert back when I was an undergrad. 2. I have 2 pet rabbits. I understand the first one but just curious. What is the big secret with the second one? My mom does not like rabbits after the one she briefly had when I was only 2 scratched her badly. She has been trying to get me to move back home with her to save money, but I have rabbits and I'm not giving them up. I see. That makes more sense now. That I'm adopted. This might come as a shock to them. That in spite of everything I had a happy childhood. You should tell them that. How much I love my mom. Here is a story. I was engaged to a girl and about to get married. I was so madly in love at that time. At the same time, my mom started to get sick from cancer. I spent much time at the hospital to take care of her dying. My fiancée started to get jealous because I spent less and less time with her, and she threatened to break up our relationship. I tried hard to save my relationship with her, and I spent less and less time with my mom. Not long after that, she got dementia and I could no longer communicate with her as she became this other person inside my mom's weak body. She went into coma not long after and passed away. A month after that, I broke up with my then fiancée. I regret I was not there for my mom as much as I was supposed to. She is now gone forever. I wish I could go back and hold her hand more during her dying days. 10 years have passed. I have forgot that girl completely and moved on. However, every night, in every dream I have, my mom is always there. I still could not forget her at all after all these years. My mom raised me as a single parent, and when she was gone, a big chunk of me was gone too. You tried to do your best at the time and that's fine. The people that passed away always live on in our memories, and people as close as parents even live on through the actions and habits we got from them. So rather than regretting what you could not do back then, try to embrace the good memories of your mom and the good things she taught you. This is what helped me. But seriously, what a dickhead girlfriend. Being jealous for spending time with you dying mom. My parents think that my wife is the first girl I ever dated. It is true. They also think she is the first girl I ever tried to date. Not true. 4 years before I met my wife, I met a girl who wound up being an amazing friend. We talked for months. Music, hobbies, you name it. I finally worked up the nerve to ask her out on a date. We never got a chance to date because she died suddenly a week before what was going to be our first date. The whole thing had me so rattled I could not bring myself to try again for a long time. Glad I did though, or I never would have found my wife. For those few years, I would get ridiculed by everyone and everything for being alone all the time, including my family. Nobody knew what happened. I actually did not tell my wife until last year. We have been trying to start a family, struggling with it. My wife started mentioning potential baby names. One of the ones she named happened to be the same name of the girl I knew many years ago, not exactly a common name. I told her I could not. And why? She totally understood. I am sorry for your loss. I used to have a problem with alcohol and I am 11 years sober. Congratulations on your sobriety. That I skipped out on a week of college and followed My Chemical Romance on tour with my friend. That, and I'm pansexual. Seems legit. I never told my dad how badly he ducked up my life and I never will either. He does not deserve the satisfaction. I never expressed to my mom just how mad I'm about her trying to push me into breaking up with my girlfriend and feeding into my doubts and anxieties about my first relationship. I feel incredibly betrayed, and I'm never asking her for relationship advice again. Oh no, nice try FBI. I ain't confessing. Your parents work for the FBI, or the FBI for their parents. That I wasn't at the movies that one night. I have not told them about my health issues. There is no need to worry anyone. Can I ask what's wrong? Internal organ problems that the doctors have no explanation for and are throwing drugs at in the hopes that it works. I'm not going to be more specific than that. I am sorry to hear that. I am sure you have your reasons from not telling them, but I hope you get better and the doctors can figure something out. Honestly, there are things I have not told my parents, but at 38 my hobbies now include telling these kind of stories to my parents because their reaction is hysterical to me and I cannot get in trouble anymore. A stupid trip at night when I was 16. I was staying at my family's rural holiday house, well, more like a cottage with my friend. Parents thought we would spend the whole night there. It is in the middle of nowhere, but instead we dressed up, drove nearly 30 kilometers on a moped to a nearest train station, and took a train to a bigger city about an hour or an hour and a half away. We had some drinks on us and went to chill out outside of bars. It was maybe midnight, 1 AM. We were minors so could not get it, so we just chatted with a guy who was well into his 20s. Closer to 30, even. Maybe. We joined him and another guy to their apartment. Nothing bad happened. But God, how stupid that was, and how bad it could have been. When I think about it now, I think I even made out with a guy a bit, and he even tried sexting me the next day. I do not know about you, but a guy who is almost 30 even thinking about sex with a 16-year-old seems wrong. Luckily we just kissed, and I deleted his number, or blocked him, or whatever you did. Before times of WhatsApp. In the early morning we took a train back, and drove back to the cottage. I'm 26 years old now. We still reminisce this every now and then with my friend with a mix of amusement and horror, but I do not think I will tell this to my family anytime soon, lol. That I once drove my moped while drunk. Nothing happened, but that must be one of the most stupid things I have ever done. Never drink and drive, guys. That I'm B. Also I never told them about this snus, and I'm not planning on either. Anyone else afraid to Google what a snus is? Snus. It is a Swedish tobacco thing, a little similar to dip but different. But when you say it like that, I cannot stop laughing. I'm B, and I'm not Christian anymore. Same here. I tried to tell my mom about not being Christian. She then went and told my dying grandmother about it, who got mad at me as well. Luckily I live with my dad now, who, unlike my mom, is not Christian and doesn't he force me to go to church every Sunday. I haven't he told either that I am B. That I sneaked playing in my phone 10 days in a row. I managed to go 2 weeks playing video games on my phone at night. Ended up getting caught and being grounded for a month. That I'm gay. That I broke the dam. I am 33 and gay. My parents have never met a partner of mine. I didn't even come out to them. It was an assumption my mother made in my late teens which turned out to be true. I've never spoken about it with my dad at all, or particularly want to. I guess not coming out to myself until 21 denied me a true coming of age experience. I only ever referenced a past male relationship to my mother when I was depressed over it one Christmas. I was 29. We had a frank conversation about it. Then it was over. Not something I really want to repeat. That they gave me an eating disorder. They forced me onto a diet as a teenager and the damage from that led me to develop health anxiety and binge eating disorder. Funny how a diet to make me lose that last 10 pounds made me gain 100 pounds instead. That I was groomed and sexually abused from ages 4 to 7 by a couple of older kids that used to basically live at my grandparents' home. It ducked me up for the longest time, and it took me years to crawl out of that hole. It still wants to drag me in from time to time, but I won't let it. I don't know if airlines ever tell them. That at age 14 I almost committed suicide because bills kept piling up and I thought it was my fault. I kept telling myself they would save money if I died. I had a knife in my room, ready to slice my arms up the vein, because I knew cutting my wrists would not kill me, was only for attention. My dad went in my room during school one day and saw it was on my desk. When he asked why I had it, I told him I must have forgot about it when I ate in my room the night before. I could not tell him. I just could not. I hope you are doing better now. I am. More or less. That was 8 years ago. Stay strong. I hope that those thoughts never come back. That my mom's friend's son molested me when I was 5 years old in the burned house next to ours. When I was 13 I used to run this fight club. People would pay me to see 12, 13-year-olds beat each other up. I eventually ended up on the news, and that's when I stopped. Did your parents not see you on the news? It was put on the news midday. I'm assuming they didn't have time to watch it. When I was a kid, I was playing in the attic area of the workshop building behind our house. I really should not have been playing around there, especially alone, as it was old and had broken junk around. Anyway, my foot slipped and I fell through the ceiling and landed directly on my back. It knocked the wind out of me, but otherwise I was fine. I stopped playing around there after that. Never told my parents, because I know they would have made a big deal out of it. Even now at age 30. I'm not proud of it, and it is not entirely a secret, since 2 of my childhood friends found out. But when I was about 12 years old I was at a neighborhood friend's house with that friend and a couple others. The friend who lived at the house loved me and our 2 other friends. We all lived very close to one another and hung out daily. We were all still dear friends. However, one thing he hated was how often we reminded him that his mom was hot. She was and still is an attractive woman. One day while over at this friend's house, me and one of the other friends ended up snooping around upstairs, and long story short, I literally did a panty raid, and I left that friend's house that day with a pair of his mother's silky lingerie panties. After a week or two I got antsy about having such a personal and private item belonging to one of the neighborhood mothers. I have no idea what my mother would have done had she found out what I had done, so I eventually threw the panties down a sewer well, so that the only creatures who might find out about my act would be those gators that live in the sewers. There must have been one happy, perverted gator down there that day. In the couple of weeks before I disposed of the evidence, I got good use out of that delicate garment and sniffed it repeatedly. Call me what you will, though keep in mind I was 12. I did not fully comprehend just how violating and disrespectful an act it was. That panty raid started off as a joke, but it almost immediately turned into a personal mission driven by pubescent desires. My friend's mother was one of the first women I had felt sexual feelings toward, and the opportunity to get my hands on one of her legendary sexy panties was just too much to pass up. So, yeah, that is one of my dirty little secrets. I was a dirty little man. Pretty normal compared to other comments here. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.